Well, Rinpoche, thank you very much for coming to Italy and giving us so many incredible teachings and spending your time with us. As you know, we have a newly formed association, Manjushri Lotsawa, which you are the spiritual director, and we're planning to do many activities to support His Holiness the Dalai Lama's vision for the world in general, and in particular to preserve and expand the Nalanda tradition, which has been preserved in Tibet for more than 1,000 years. Now, I would like to ask you if you could introduce us to the vision of His Holiness the Dalai Lama after 90 years in this world, having traveled the entire world, having made so many connections, and in the same time having preserved the entirety of the Tibetan culture with the heart, the very heart of the Tibetan culture, that is the Nalanda tradition and the tradition of the critical thinking. What is his vision for this world, for the future?
First of all, thank you for having me. I think now, as we all know, that this year marks His Holiness' 90th birthday, which means a lot for the whole world, actually, because we have a person, his entire 90 years given to the whole world to bring tirelessly bringing peace into this world. Still, he is giving the inspiration to the whole world. So now, as a 90th birthday, as His Holiness doesn't demand any kind of a birthday gift, but the biggest thing is what we can offer now to repay His kindness. Now, only one thing actually, to continue his work and believing, and as we have witnessed that this way of approach, his teachings really helped many sentient beings. That includes us also. So with this, his teaching, he always says this, particularly in the Tibetan Buddhism and Buddhism in general, Buddha is considered as one of the greatest spiritual teacher in this world, because his teaching really gives you like the teaching that not only gives you a peace of mind, but gives you the full opportunity to utilize our brain. And then, as Buddha said, you first check my teachings and then respect my words, which is, in this planet, I think this is such a great offer. So now, as Buddha said, check my teachings. So now we really need to know how to check it. To be honest, many people ask so many questions. To be honest, as up to now I've been teaching, I've been a student, I'm trying to be a good teacher. What I witness is, without this critical way of thinking, also known as a debate, that especially this Nalanda way of investigation, if we don't have that, then there is no way to analyze fully to the Buddha's teaching. So there's no way to reach to the peace of mind. So that's why His Holiness up to now is really pushing us actually with his compassion, that he gives us this foundation to use this knowledge, which is the typical Nalanda way of practice. So now this, on the 90th birthday, so we have decided this way of school or investigation, way of this approach of the Nalanda. So now, through the blessing of His Holiness and my teacher, so we thought not only staying in a remote place in India, but coming into the world, wherever this teaching is necessary, that we make this available. So that's why Serkong Institute and Manjushri Lotsawa working together becomes quite important.
Well, thank you very much, Rinpoche. Indeed, is wonderful the way His Holiness the Dalai Lama has been teaching the Dharma in the world for the last 40, 50 years. And even recently I've been able to be following His Holiness the Dalai Lama for so many decades. But I noticed that since the beginning of the century, there was some really deep switch in His Holiness' way of teaching, and it became so innovative and very much mixed with sciences, and also emphasizing the secular approach. So this brought many of us to think that in fact the Buddha's teachings are totally modern, are perfectly for the 21st century and for the century to come. And now you seem to emphasize the point of the critical thinking, which is investigating reality, which has very much to do with pure scientific mind research. So now for the last 40 or 50 years, Buddhism has been in the West, has been practiced. We have thousands and thousands of practitioners. I remember the last time I was with His Holiness in Milan, there were 10,000 people listening to the teachings. And there are many Buddhist centers as well, which have long and short type of programs, and they do also include the basic important texts that come from the Indian tradition, such as the treatises of Maitreya and so forth. However, the precious teacher, Gente Zikyurme, and yourself as well, seem to think that since you have experience in the West, that yet the pure Nalanda tradition hasn't taken root in the West, although we've been practicing Buddhism now for 50, maybe 60 years. And so what is missing, and what is the connection with the program of the Serkong Institute and Manjushri Lotsawa that will bring to the tradition, Buddhist tradition in the West, to support His Holiness' view?
So far now, due to His Holiness' kindness and his teaching up to now, until he's 90, he was giving all over the teaching in the world. So I strongly believe Buddhism is strongly rooted now. The seed is there, and all the secret centers, they are holding the Buddha Dharma's teaching very well. And most now important, to be honest, when I meet some of the practitioners saying that almost 50, 60 years been practicing Dharma, and then sometimes they feel like I practice a lot, but they kind of, with the respect, they say like, that is not really effective. So that becomes a greater concern for my teacher, for myself, because if Dharma is a medicine and you have a patient and something is not working well, then we need to, it's the this community, the hospitals, communities work together and look into what is really missing. It's not only the Dharma, it is not only the teachers, it is not, but then what is really missing? What we just found, maybe what we are really missing is this way of approaching what His Holiness always says, Nalanda way of approach is needed. So, and if we look at it very carefully, we are trying, but are we trying enough? Then this is a next level question. So all the centers, all the Dharma centers, all over in the world, they need to come forward now. Because this is not we are saying His Holiness vision, but if you really feel the Dharma is rooted, and how do you flourish Dharma and bring each and everybody's needed? How do you wanted to take out this doubt that practicing Dharma for 30, 40 years, feeling that it's not effective, how are you going to take this away from the people's mind? That's why the main mission of the Serkong Institute and the Manjushri Lotsawa has to work on that. That's why we have a little bit of confidence that we can do it with the blessings of His Holiness.
Well, thank you very much, Rinpoche. So you seem to have thinking and understood that tell me if I'm right, I understood it right, that the missing component in the transmission of the Dharma, in the first transmission of the Dharma in Tibet, in the West, is the tradition of the critical thinking, of the valid cognition. Why? So first of all, what comes to my mind is that in the first transmission of the Dharma from India to Tibet, that was exactly the component that was the basis of the transmission, the pure critical thinking tradition and valid cognition, which was then sort of supported and developed in Tibet for 1,000 years. So somehow I see parallel. If this was done before and was successful for more than 1,000 years, if we have to do again now at the time of the first Dharma transmission in the West, if we want to be successful for the future generation, we need to do something similar.
Yes.
Is this also something that connects to this magnificent program that you're offering to the West?
Yes, as you mentioned that when we talk about critical way of thinking, that means through the help of the pramana, which Dharmakirti is very well known on that. So with this kind of his way of analytical meditation is needed to actually bring this strong foundation of two truths. So and in Tibet, even though if you look at the Parmana, the text in the beginning, it says, I don't know if there is a benefit or not, but I'm writing this. So then later, all the Tibetan master starting from Sakya, then Kagyu, then Nyingma, and now Gilu, all the generations from the Tibetan, all these great masters are super well known on this topic. Now, to be honest, in the West, we have some centers, they are not offering this kind of teaching. And then they teach meditation, they teach many teachings that the audience really wants, which is great, but it's not enough. Because when that person goes back, with all the material, all the commitments they do, they cannot connect. They cannot bring down the doubt. And then they have like a 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hour practices. And then they do it maybe few months with a pleasure. Then after a few years later, it becomes a burden. So which is sad. So now what is really missing there is when you don't have the strong concentration, which is only based on once there's no doubt at all. And this confidence level only can be given by with the help of the Dharmakirtis in the text. So that's why we are putting this kind of a method into our the program. And then of course we have all the programs of the Lorik, the mind, the mind science, and then we have the also the Madhyamika, and then we have philosophy, and then we have the Four Noble Truths, and then we have also the Abhisamaya Alankara, and then how to connect this to the Bodhicitta.
This is indeed wonderful. Lastly, Rinpoche, a thing that came to my mind listening to your wonderful explanation is that for someone who has no background whatsoever in Buddhism, but somehow feels interested, why would this tradition with the critical thinking be beneficial to the society, to the modern society in the West, and what will the normal person be able to incorporate in their life to lead a meaningful life, a better life?
So in a very short, whether the help of this way of critical thinking, day and night we suffer, we debate, we fight, and with this help of critical thinking, you will be open up so many doubts. For some of my students who've been debating and with this critical the way of thinking, one of the mantra, this important line is no pervasion. So what means no pervasion? Means normally we are so fixed at something, on your position, and it looks like all the reason which you gave from your mouth, from your heart, it is valid. But then in this critical thinking, we teach students to answer no pervasion. So that even this line, only this line is very helpful to bring down your so much grasping to the position. So this starts with reducing the concrete mind of yours.
Thank you so much, Rinpoche. So looks like Serkong Institute with Manjushri Lotsawa are taking the leadership in the Western world, and we hope that all the Dharma centers will look at us in a way as an example to follow, to promote His Holiness' vision, and to establish very well in all directions the Nalanda tradition.
Yeah, I don't know about the leadership, but definitely we are not going to give up, and we will offer our full service to fulfill His Holiness, which is related to the world peace. So this is the biggest offering for His Holiness' birthday.
Thank you so much, Rinpoche, for coming to us and to give us this incredible gift, which will be so beneficial for our lives and for so many lives and for the future generation in this Western world. Thank you so much, Rinpoche,
Thank you
for
very
being
much.
with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Ciao.